I spent a night in a room the company arranged. Late at night, I found a note on my bed that hadn't been there before. It had 2 lines written in red ink: "Don't open the door, and no matter what you hear, beware of the living dead disguised as normal people." I'd just graduated. A few days ago, I saw a company hiring, 30 grand a month, college degree required, no other qualifications. I was super excited and called them right away. A woman with a very gentle voice answered. She said, "Please keep an eye on your texts. We'll send you the exact interview time and location today." I waited excitedly all day. By 11 p.m., I still hadn't gotten anything. Weird, didn't she say today? Did they forget? I scratched my head, constantly refreshing my messages. Just as I was about to turn off my phone and go to sleep, the text came through. I opened it. The message was strange: "Please arrive at the 13th floor of Umbra Tower by midnight. Just bring your phone. Latecomers will be immediately disqualified." By midnight? What kind of respectable company interviews this late? I frowned, but the lure of 30 grand a month was too strong. I got dressed and rushed to the building. Umbra Tower wasn't far from my place, about a 10-minute walk. The streets were silent, except for the dim yellow streetlights and occasional dog barks. My own breathing sounded incredibly loud. When I got to the tower, only the top floor had lights on. That must be the 13th floor, where the interview is, I thought. I pushed open the glass door, using my phone's flashlight, and saw an elevator still running. The elevator indicator showed it was going down, already at the 4th floor. At this hour, if someone was coming down, were they a failed interviewee being sent home? I stood waiting. Ding! The elevator doors opened. But it was empty. A chill ran down my spine. If no one was in it, who pressed the button? It's fine, it's fine. Maybe someone going up kindly pressed the button for the 1st floor, I told myself, and stepped inside. The text said the 13th floor, but when I went to press the button, I saw the panel only went up to 12. Now I was genuinely scared. I thought about just forgetting it and was about to leave the elevator when the doors closed. And without me pressing any buttons, it slowly started to ascend. I was terrified, frantically mashing all the floor buttons, trying to stop it on any floor so I could take the stairs down. But the elevator didn't respond at all, just kept rising smoothly. Finally, it passed the 12th floor. And stopped on a non-existent 13th floor. Cold sweat beaded on my forehead. After the doors opened, I cautiously stepped out, shining my flashlight around. The left was a dead end. To the right, a dark hallway stretched out, with a door at the end. Light seeped from under it. I swallowed hard and forced myself to walk towards it. The door was old, wooden, painted a reddish brown, and looked a bit creepy. I knocked tentatively. Someone immediately replied, "Come in." I pulled the door open. Creak. The harsh sound drew attention. I closed it, a bit embarrassed, and only then saw 4 or 5 other interviewees like me sitting in a waiting area. In the center, a person in a hat sat at a desk, head down, smoking. I couldn't see their face. Actually, I couldn't even see their profile. Beside them stood a young, pretty woman with short hair, watching me expressionlessly. I stood awkwardly at the door, unsure what to do. The woman spoke, "Go sit in the waiting area. Come out when your name is called." I lowered my head and quickly walked to the waiting area, taking a seat in the back. I checked the time. Still half an hour until midnight. While waiting, I observed the other applicants. By midnight, there were 8 of us in total, including me. Besides myself and 2 other young women, the rest were men in their 30s. The interviews began. I watched the first guy go up, introduce himself, and then drone on about how successful and awesome he was. A sweet-looking girl next to me tapped my arm, smiled, and asked, "Hey, are you confident about the interview? I shook my head. I don't know. She looked really young, so I couldn't help asking, how old are you? She smiled sweetly. I'm 20. I know, I look like a minor, right? Lots of people say that. Once someone started talking, it was like opening floodgates. She asked, when you came up, did the elevator have a 13th floor button? She tilted her head. Yeah, it did. Why do you ask? I didn't know how to respond for a moment. Oh. No reason, just asking. Maybe I've been hallucinating lately. I didn't know if what I saw was real, but this girl's reaction didn't seem fake. Soon it was my turn. I nervously introduced myself and waited for the interviewer's questions. He flicked his cigarette ash. Will you unconditionally obey company management? What kind of messed up question was that? But no matter the question, the right answer was to smile, nod, and say yes. I will. After I answered, the woman next to the interviewer said, interview over. Next. My eyes widened. That simple? The entire interview process for everyone took less than 20 minutes. The results were out. I actually got selected. The interviewer eliminated 2 men. I seem to recall they were the ones who talked the most. The woman next to the interviewer, still expressionless, told us, congratulations, you've passed our company's interview. However, we have one requirement, you must stay in the company building tonight. Rooms have been prepared for you, single occupancy, all toiletries provided. Your room numbers will be sent to your phones via text shortly. Please note, do not open your doors for any reason tonight. If anything happens because you do, you're on your own. Her tone was firm, and the demand was bizarre. Among the 6 of us, a woman with big, wavy hair and heavy makeup, Emily, complained, no way, I'm going home. I can't sleep in strange places. The interviewer's hoarse voice spoke up, are you refusing the company's arrangements? Emily crossed her arms. I can come in at 7 tomorrow morning, but I won't sleep in an unfamiliar place. The interviewer tilted his head slightly. If you're capable of leaving, then go ahead. She scoffed, then in her sky-high heels, went to pull the door, but it wouldn't budge. Her expression changed. Pushing or pulling, the door remained fixed. Instead, her delicate hands ended up covered in bloody scratches. Wincing in pain, she glared at the interviewer, about to say something, but he spoke first, quitting midway counts as breach of contract. You'll need to pay with your life as compensation. That shut her up. Just then, all 6 of our phones chimed with messages. It was our room numbers. I was in 1307. The woman next to the interviewer said, everyone, turn left out the door, and you'll see the rooms. Find yours by the number. Sweet dreams. I asked the young girl, whose name was Ruby, where she was staying. She said right next door to me. We exchanged contact info on WhatsApp to stay in touch. This time, the interview room door opened easily. Emily looked livid. I found my room, closed the door, and immediately locked it. I turned on the light. The room was actually pretty nice, private bathroom, AC. A bit small, but all the essentials were there. I quickly washed up, turned off the light, and got into bed. I just closed my eyes, almost asleep, when I heard a scratch sound, like something was clawing at the door. I jolted awake, staring at the door. The sound continued. I got out of bed, tiptoed to the door, and looked through the peephole. I didn't see anyone. I mustered my courage and called out, "Who's there?" The sound stopped abruptly. I stood frozen at the door, listening intently. After 5 minutes of silence, I breathed a sigh of relief. Maybe I just misheard. I was about to get back into bed when I pulled back the covers and found a note there. I was sure there was nothing on the bed before. What was going on? The note had 2 lines written in red ink: "Don't open the door and no matter what you hear. Beware of the living dead disguised as normal people." I flipped it over and saw more writing on the back. "Do not open the door for anyone before dawn. If you hear scratching at the door, don't worry, it's just a child's prank. Beware of the other you in the mirror. There is no moon tonight. If you see one, open the top drawer of your nightstand and eat the red fruit inside. There's a murderer among the 6 of you. Protect yourself. Someone is already dead, but they don't know it yet. This will be a very long night. Be careful with everything. Stay safe." I stared at these baffling, contradictory messages, feeling a sense of dread. Any chance of sleep was completely gone now. I opened WhatsApp and found Ruby. "Ruby, are you asleep?" Ruby replied immediately, "Not yet. I'm a little scared being alone, can't sleep." I initially wanted to send her a picture of the note, but then I thought I'd ask first. "Ruby, did you find any notes in your room?" "No, why? Is something wrong?" "Nothing. Was I the only one who got one?" Ruby then said, "Oh, hey, let me add you to our group chat." Emily, the woman with the wavy hair, started one. Before I could reply, I saw her invitation. I joined the group and saw they were already discussing something. Emily had sent a voice message, complaining that the company's pay was just okay but the demands were high, and she was going to quit tomorrow. Just then, someone named Sam in the group said, "Guys, stop talking. There's a murderer among us 6. Emily replied with a question mark, then asked, "What nonsense are you talking about? How do you know?" Sam said, "There was a note stuck to my bathroom mirror. That's what it said." Afraid we wouldn't believe him, he even sent a photo to the group. My pupils contracted. That sentence was indeed identical to one on my note, but Sam's note only had that single line. The group fell silent, then the finger pointing began. Emily said, "Well, I think we can rule out us 3 girls first. You 3 guys are the most suspicious." A guy named Mike shot back, "What? Women aren't people? They can't kill?" Emily, with her fiery temper, snapped, "Girls are so delicate, how could we kill anyone? You think I'd kill you? I'd sooner go after your mom." I touched my nose. Delicate? Her? There was one man in the group who hadn't spoken. Emily directly tagged him at Chris, "Say something. You've been quiet this whole time. Busy murdering someone?" Chris was pretty aloof, just replying with 2 words, "Sleeping." "Busy." I hissed softly, muttering to myself, the note said someone's already dead, but they don't know it yet. What on earth does that mean? Ruby messaged me then, "Hey, do you think that murderer thing is real? Is one of us going to get killed?" I tried to reassure her, "Let's just stay in our rooms, we'll be fine. Don't be scared, Ruby." Knock, knock, knock. Someone was knocking on my door. I looked towards it, alarmed. I put my phone on silent, got up, and slowly walked to the door. The knocking continued. As I neared the door, a familiar voice said, "Hey, can I sleep with you? I'm so scared." "Ruby?" I looked through the peephole. Ruby was there, head down, clutching a pillow and sniffling. I said, "Ruby, go back quickly. Don't come out by yourself, it's dangerous. I just want to sleep with you, okay?" Hearing the pleading in her voice, I thought, well, sleeping alone in a strange place, knowing there's a murderer around, it's natural to be scared. Just as I was about to open the door, I saw new messages on my phone. They were from Ruby. "Hey, talk to me for a bit? Are you still there? Why aren't you saying anything?" I stared in horror at the messages still popping up, then looked back at the peephole. If the one messaging me was Ruby, then who was this person outside my door? The Ruby at the door sounded distinctly annoyed now. "Why can't you grant me this one small request? Open the door. Are you going to watch me get killed by the murderer? Her voice sounded distorted. I quickly said, Ruby, you should go back. There's something wrong with my lock, I don't think I can open it. She chuckled darkly. Is that so? Then I won't disturb you for now. I clutched my phone, leaning against the wall, too scared to breathe. When I heard no more sounds from outside, I cautiously peeked through the peephole again. But I couldn't see anything. It was dark red, as if something was blocking it. Puzzled, I looked again. This time, I saw clearly. It was Ruby's eye pressed against the peephole. She pulled back from the peephole with a grotesque smile. Only then did I realize, her eyes. They had no eyeballs, just two bloody sockets. My face turned ashen. I screamed, stumbled back a few steps, and fell to the floor, trembling uncontrollably. I was stunned for about 10 minutes before I could process what had just happened. My head throbbed. I pressed my temples and decided to wash my face to clear my head. I went to the bathroom, splashed cold water on my face. The icy shock calmed me down instantly. I looked up at my pale face in the mirror, about to grab a towel. But as I turned my head, I caught a glimpse of someone in the mirror watching me out of the corner of my eye. I whipped my head back. It was just my own startled reflection. I took a step back, thinking I was probably just a nervous wreck from fear. But when I looked at the mirror again, I saw a bloody handprint in the corner that hadn't been there before. I screamed and scrambled out of the bathroom, turned on all the lights in the room, and pressed myself against the wall, staring at the bathroom door. Terrified that something would crawl out any second. I kept swallowing, gasping for breath, but the room was quiet except for the sounds I was making. I glanced at my phone. The group chat had 99+ messages. Ruby had also sent me several. Hey, I thought I heard you scream just now. Are you okay? I replied, I'm fine, just had a hallucination. After a thought, I asked, Ruby, did you open your door just now? She said, no way, I've been in my room the whole time. I wouldn't dare open it. Now I was even more panicked. Why did the person outside look like Ruby? Who was that? My chest felt tight, like I couldn't breathe, so I decided to open the window for some air. It's only mid-month, but the moon is so full, I mused, seeing the disc-like moon. But my thought cut short. I remembered the note, there is no moon tonight. I rushed to the nightstand, found the red fruit, and ate it without hesitation. It had no taste, and I felt no discomfort. Everything tonight was just too bizarre. Even this interview place was weird. I decided to leave as soon as it was daylight. I didn't want to stay here terrified any longer. I sat on the edge of the bed, watching their chat in the group of 6. Emily was still tearing into the 3 men. Just then, Chris, who hadn't said much, typed, "Did anyone knock on your doors just now?" Emily replied, "No." "Are you trying to turn the tables and frame someone?" Chris continued, "I just heard knocking." I looked through my peephole and saw someone who looked exactly like you, Emily. Emily was the wavy-haired woman's name. Hearing it, she blew up. "What are you trying to say? I've been in my room this whole damn time. Are you implying I'm out to get you?" Chris denied it. "It's precisely because I know you've been messaging in the group that I'm saying I saw someone who looked exactly like you outside my door." That quieted Emily. After a long pause, she replied, "Are you serious? I have no reason to lie to you." At this point, I chimed in, "He's not lying. I saw Ruby at my door earlier too." The other 3 in the group also started saying they'd seen one of the others. I felt something was off. I saw Ruby. Chris saw Emily. Mike saw me. Sam saw Mike. But Emily hadn't had her door knocked on. If someone had, with her personality, she definitely would have mentioned it in the group. Ruby was even stranger. Just moments ago, she was asking me what was wrong, and now she was saying she saw Sam through her peephole. If she was so scared, how could she see a strange man and have no reaction at all? Why did she only speak up after everyone else had? Someone was lying. I couldn't be sure if it was Ruby, but I was starting to suspect her. Emily was clearly scared and impatient. Look, whoever the murderer is, just step forward, okay? Say what you want, don't play games with our lives. Sam scoffed, have you ever seen a murderer turn themselves in? Mike said, Emily, you're the only one who wasn't knocked on, didn't see one of us. That makes you the most suspicious right now. Emily laughed, exasperated. Me? I'm the killer. What am I gonna do, headbutt them to death? I saw a new friend request in my contacts. It was Chris. I accepted. He messaged me directly, someone in the group is lying. His guess was the same as mine, but I couldn't trust anyone too much right now, so I feigned ignorance. How do you know? Deduction. Since Emily didn't see anyone, that's a loophole. It means someone jumped on the bandwagon and lied. And, if I'm not mistaken, one of the 6 is already dead. My heart skipped a beat. Why do you say that? Someone opened their door, got killed. The victim's phone is in the killer's hands, and the killer is faking that the victim is still alive by sending messages in the group. His sharp deduction made me wary. Then why are you telling me this? Aren't you afraid I'm the killer? Let me ask you, did you receive a note? With writing on both sides? I continued to play dumb. What note? He sent 2 pictures. It was a note identical to mine, one side with the 2 lines in red ink, the other with the same strange rules I had. My jaw dropped in surprise, but I kept up the pretense. So why would you think I got the same note as you? A little while ago, did you find a bloody handprint on your bathroom mirror? I'm in the room next to yours. I heard you scream. I happened to be getting up to use the bathroom, and when I went in, I saw the handprint too. Also, when you said you saw the girl, Ruby, you gasped. That matches the time I was at my peephole and saw Emily. I asked him, you're next door to me? In 1306. Yes. I entered my room after you entered yours, so I saw you go into 1307. Can you believe me now? I silently grumbled, these doors have terrible soundproofing. But then it hit me, back then, Ruby had also asked me why I screamed. Chris messaged again, the bloody handprint on the mirror, it's made with a chemical agent. It appears when the temperature drops below 68 degrees Fahrenheit. It's winter now. If you use AC, you usually close the bathroom door. If you don't, the bathroom, with its tiles, will be a few degrees colder than the bedroom anyway. So this was deliberately set up. Whether every room has it, I don't know. I couldn't help asking, how do you know it's a chemical agent? Chris said, I've won awards for chemistry research. I used to spend all my time in a chem lab, so I know this stuff inside out. If you don't believe me, you can look it up online. Since he said that, I didn't bother looking it up. His ideas were similar to mine, and his deductions were logical. I asked, so what do we do now? Just wait until morning? Chris said, you have to realize, since there's a murderer among us 6, will they leave any survivors? Leave us alive to call the cops on them? My heart skipped another beat. You mean? We're all going to die. Smart. So instead of waiting to be picked off, we should try to find the killer. That's our only chance to stop them. I said worriedly, we can't even leave our rooms. How are we supposed to stop anyone? He said, rules are rigid, people are flexible. If you trust me, come to my room. If you're scared to go out, I can come to yours. If you don't trust me, then just wait and see. The killer will make a move. When he suggested I go out, I instinctively refused. I wasn't about to gamble with my life. In the group chat, Emily tagged everyone, guys, I have an idea. Let's all 6 of us stay in one room, watch each other. That way, the killer can't make a move, right? And whoever doesn't come is the most suspicious. I facebombed. This woman was making things worse. She was truly fearless, or clueless. Before I could say anything, a few others chimed in. The woman next to the interviewer told us not to open our doors randomly. You might not care about your life, but we care about ours. She retorted impatiently, bunch of cowards. Fine, don't come. How about us 3 girls stick together? She tagged me and Ruby. I didn't dare say anything. Ruby fearfully declined. Emily then said, well, then how about I come to you too? I'm right across from Ruby anyway. Ruby said, Emily, let's not risk it. What if the murderer is just waiting for you? I also thought Emily was incredibly bold, discussing her plans right in the group chat. Emily ignored her. All right, I'm coming to you, Ruby. Open your door. I heard Emily close her room door, then continuous knocking on Ruby's door. I went to my peephole, but I couldn't see to the side, only hear Emily calling Ruby's name and the incessant knocking. The door next to me opened. I saw the light from inside fall on Emily's closed door across the hall. At the same time, I saw Emily's wavy hair move. Then the door closed. I messaged Chris, Emily really went to Ruby's room. He replied, let her. Times like these really test people. I didn't know if that was a dig at me or just a general observation. Suddenly, from next door, Ruby's room, came a dull thud, like something heavy hitting the wall. I quickly messaged Ruby to ask what happened. She replied, Emily was here complaining, got so worked up she lost her balance and fell back against the wall. I looked at her message suspiciously but decided not to press further. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw another note on my pillow. I quickly picked it up. It had only one sentence: the consequence of inaction could be total annihilation. What did that mean? Was it telling me to take initiative? Just then, Chris sent a picture. He'd received a note too, with the exact same message. So? Want to team up? I was still wary. But why should I trust you? And likewise, why do you trust me so easily? He said, then let's each get a weapon for self-defense. If you're afraid to come out, I'll come to you. I'll make a number sign with my hand at your door. You can decide the number. First, confirm it's me, then let me in. I won't have my weapon in my hand. Since you're a girl, you can keep yours ready until I'm inside. How about that? At this point, Chris was the only one I could even slightly trust. I agreed. As he said, after he made the specific hand gesture I'd chosen, I opened the door. I tightly gripped a stick, watching Chris warily. He held his hands out in front of him, showing he wasn't holding a weapon. I also saw a pen tucked into his waistband. Under my gaze, he sat down on a chair. You can keep holding that stick for protection. You don't have to fully trust me. Now, let me tell you my deductions. I added Sam and Mike. By subtly questioning them, I found out neither of them saw any bloody handprint on their mirrors. But Sam initially said he had a note on his mirror, while Mike didn't. Sam saw it and even mentioned it in the group. Makes him seem less suspicious, right? I said, would a murderer kindly warn us that they're going to kill, telling us to be careful? Chris pushed up his glasses. Exactly. That's what I thought at first too. But when he was introducing himself to the interviewer, he said he used to be an AI developer. Top-tier AI creators can do live face swapping using phone data and a mini projector. It clicked. You mean, he brought it up to make us lower our guard, and he's using AI face swapping tech to trick us at our peepholes? But what about the voices? I heard knocking and Ruby calling my name. How did that happen? Chris frowned. Voices? But I only heard knocking. My face paled. Chris also sensed something was wrong. He looked sharply at me, then at the wall separating my room from the next. I lowered my voice and said to him, "Didn't I just tell you Emily went into Ruby's room?" Not long after, I heard that heavy thud against the wall. "Do you think Emily might be?" Chris suddenly stood up, frowning. "The note only said there's one murderer. But that doesn't mean there isn't an accomplice." I covered my mouth, understanding what he meant. Chris said, "Ruby, a young girl, definitely couldn't handle a big guy like Mike. So Sam must have killed him. As for Emily, she walked right into it and was taken care of by Ruby." I was silent. What he said made some sense. After a long pause, I looked up. "So, are we their next targets?" No sooner had I spoken than he made a hushing gesture. Before I could react, I heard knocking from the next room. Chris's face darkened. "They want to get rid of me first, then you." I was so scared I could barely stand. "What do we do?" In this place, calls get disconnected immediately. If I try to message anyone else for help on WhatsApp, the messages just show an exclamation mark. I don't want to die. It must be a signal jammer, and a sophisticated one. You can probably adjust its settings. It's likely set to only allow communication between us few. Knock, knock, knock. This time, the knocking was at my door. Chris told me not to panic. He looked through the peephole and mouthed to me, "Peephole's blocked." I deliberately called out, "Who is it?" "It's me, Emily." My eyes widened at Chris. He looked back at me, equally bewildered. "Emily was supposed to be dead, wasn't she?" Chris whispered to me, "I'll hide behind the door. You open it. After she comes in, slam the door and tackle her to the ground." I understood. Then I said to the door, "Emily? Didn't you go to Ruby's room?" She said, "Oh, that girl just wouldn't sleep with me. I'm too bored alone, so I came to chat with you for a bit." I said, "Oh, I see. Okay then." Nervously, I opened the door. It really was just Emily. I stepped back a few paces to let her in. Her high heels had been swapped for sneakers at some point. As soon as Emily stepped inside, Chris slammed the door shut and brutally kicked her from behind. Emily clearly wasn't expecting it and fell flat on the ground. At the same time, a knife clattered from her hand. Chris kicked the knife away and pinned Emily's hands. Emily screamed wildly, "What are you doing? Let me go. Help." I looked at her with a complicated expression, already guessing that Ruby had met a grim fate. The person outside heard the commotion and started banging on my door frantically, shouting, "Just wait till I pry this door open. You'll be sorry." That voice was undoubtedly Sam's. Chris was right, the killer really was Sam. But I still couldn't figure out why Emily was the accomplice. I tore a bedsheet into strips and helped Chris tie Emily's hands and feet, also stuffing a piece of cloth in her mouth because she was really loud. I glanced at the time. 7 a.m. I sat on the bed, exhausted. I hadn't slept all night, and with one shock after another, I felt completely drained. Chris said, "We can't stay trapped in here. We need to deal with the one outside. The signal jammer is still on. If we're hoping for the police to come, the chances are slim." Chris handed me the ballpoint pen from his waistband. He went to the bathroom, detached the mop head, and was left with the handle as a stick. Chris looked at me. "I'll open the door. Don't stick your head out at first. Just wait by the entrance. When he comes out, go for him." I clutched the pen and nodded. Chris glanced at Emily, still whimpering on the floor, then quickly opened the door and stepped back. No one was at the door. I held my breath, watching the doorway. Chris and I stayed in position for over 10 minutes, but Sam still didn't appear. Chris cautiously approached the doorway. I saw him look to the left, then he froze. He turned back to me and said, "Sam. He's dead." "What? Dead?" I didn't understand, but then I saw Sam lying on the ground by the door, eyes wide and staring, mouth agape, as if he'd seen something terrifying. There was no blood around him, but there were several bloody handprints on his neck. Chris and I looked at each other, then together, we dragged the bound Emily and left. Once in the elevator, I gasped for air. When we reached the first floor, Chris dragged Emily out. I saw people coming and going, arriving for work. In that moment, I felt like crying. Emily's appearance was so conspicuous that she drew a lot of attention. Just then, I noticed my phone had a signal, so I quickly called the police. Chris and I went to the police station to give our statements. The police said they couldn't find any so-called 13th floor. When the bodies of the three, Sam, Ruby, and Mike, were found, they were all in the elevator, scaring the building's occupants so much they didn't dare go to work. No 13th floor. Under police questioning, Emily finally told the truth. Sam was her husband. They both loved thrill-seeking and wanted to create a haunted building murder mystery so they could live-stream an exploration of it, attract viewers, and make a ton of money. They had long heard that Umbra Tower had some ghost stories, but nothing major had ever happened, so they decided to manufacture something bigger. But they ended up biting off more than they could chew, and it backfired spectacularly. Ghost stories? I asked, "What ghost stories?" The officer said, "You must be new around here. It's normal not to have heard. Even if you do, don't take them too seriously." Before Umbra Tower was built, this site was an orphanage. The developer who built the tower ignored the orphanage director's objections and forcibly demolished it. The director had no choice but to lead the children out. But word is, one child, scared by the tremors of the demolition while coming downstairs, fell, and debris from the collapsing building crushed them. They died young. The child was crushed to pieces. The developer figured it was just an orphan, didn't make a big deal of it, and went ahead with construction. Afterward, strange things kept happening in Umbra Tower after 11 p.m., so they eventually cancelled all night shifts. The officer sighed, took a sip of tea. Chris and I remained silent. The officer continued, "It's also strange about that Sam fellow. No injuries, internal or external. The final report said he was literally scared to death. We suspect he might have seen something unclean. But we're atheists, officially. That kind of talk is best kept private, to avoid causing public unrest." I left the police station, my face pale. Chris sighed too. I turned to him and said, "Thank you. If it weren't for you, I might have really died in there." "No need to thank me. I was just repaying a favor." "Repaying a favor?" What did he mean? He smiled at me and left before I could ask more. On my way home, I passed Umbra Tower. I suddenly felt the urge to count its floors. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12. I counted it carefully several times. The hairs on my arms stood on end. If there were really only 12 floors, then the 13th floor last night. Was it completely non-existent? I remembered Chris saying he'd won a chemistry award and that his name could be found online. I quickly opened Google and searched for Chris. He hadn't lied to me. But Chris, born in 1999, died young due to an accident during a chemistry experiment, a lab explosion. Date of death, exactly 1 year ago today. I was so scared I dropped my phone. It took me a while to recover. Trembling, I picked up my phone. A message had come from Chris. "You probably know by now. Sorry for deceiving you, but I still have to thank you. When I was 12, that winter, you gave me bread and a coat, which helped me survive. You might not remember, but I've finally repaid that kindness. I can leave in peace now. I wish you all the best in your future life. His WhatsApp account was deactivated, as if it had never existed. I vaguely remembered it too. After a heavy snowfall when I was little, I saw a young boy huddled in a dilapidated shack, shivering, emaciated. I couldn't bear to see it, so I gave him a large bag of bread I'd bought and my own coat. I shivered all the way home and even caught a cold because of it. It was my past self's kindness that saved my present self. But I was also very grateful to Chris. He had always remembered what was, to me, a small act of kindness. Later, I moved away from the vicinity of Umbra Tower. The memories were still a bit too frightening. Many years later, I was managing a flower shop my husband owned. I saw an adorable little boy run up, saying he wanted to buy a bouquet of roses. Seeing how small he was, I teased him, "Do you have enough money?" He puffed out his chest. "I do." I got him a bouquet of fresh roses I had just arranged. The vibrant petals seemed to make his face rosier. He paid, took the flowers, and then handed them to me, saying, "These are for you." I was surprised. "For me? Why?" He smiled. "Chris asked me to give them to you. The most beautiful flowers for the most beautiful lifesaver." Hearing the familiar name, I fell silent, my eyes welling up. I didn't ask further questions. I took the flowers and patted his head. "Then remember to tell Chris for me, he must live well this life." He smiled, revealing cute little canine teeth, nodded, bowed to me, and then left. Holding the bright red roses, I stared blankly at the doorway. Then, I smiled, a sense of peace washing over me. Indeed, sometimes people are more terrifying than ghosts.